Today's top stories. The Foreign Affairs Department vows to get to the bottom of the data breach that hit passport holders. The AFP and PNP announce security measures are in place for the start of the midterm election period. Thousands of candidates and stakeholders all over the country walk for clean, honest, and peaceful elections. And Junmar Fajardo wins his 5th PBA League MVP award.
Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The government is looking into the potential breach in passport data done by a former contractor. Malacanang says passport holders should not be subjected to cumbersome procedures while resolving the issue. More in this report from Rom Dulfo.
Malacanang is not keen on having passport holders submit new copies of their birth certificates in light of the data breach that hit the Department of Foreign Affairs. Presidential spokesman Sal Panelo says those renewing their passports should not bear the burden of securing birth certificates as it will lengthen the process and even lead to red tape, which the administration frowns upon. The National Privacy Commission is determining whether there were any violations to the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Meanwhile, the Department of National Defense will coordinate with the DFA to examine details on the alleged passport data mess involving a former contractor. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says the data breach is a grave security concern due to the wealth of personal information that could be used illegally. For its part, PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says the passport data breach may also lead to a personal security issue. He says the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group is ready to investigate potential cases of identity theft. DFA Secretary Teodoro Lacsin Jr. revealed the previous contractor has made inaccessible the data it was entrusted to after its printing contract was terminated. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, through a French firm, had been printing passport booklets before the contract was awarded to the APA Production Unit Incorporated. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Some 4,000 people joined a unity walk and prayer rally as part of efforts in calling for safe and peaceful elections this year. This as the Commission on Elections declared on Sunday the start of the election period. Stakeholders from various sectors attended the unity walk, interfaith prayer rally and peace covenant signing for the 2019 midterm elections at the Quezon Memorial Circle. Different religious leaders interceded for unity and peace during the midterm polls in May. The candidates also signed the covenant to ensure peaceful and fair elections, followed by the ceremonial releasing of doves. In his speech, NCRPO Chief Guillermo Eleazar said, the activity emphasizes the importance of teamwork of agencies and candidates nationwide. AFP Chief of Staff Benjamin Madrigal Jr. also expressed the military's unwavering commitment in keeping the integrity, sanctity, and security of the elections. Malacanang says the President Rodrigo Duterte's approval and trust ratings is a sign that Filipinos are fed up of the attacks of critics against him. The President received an approval and trust rating of 81% and 76% respectively in the recent Pulse Asia survey conducted in December last year. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says this shows that the continuous assaults by the opposition against the President and his administration are falling flat on their faces. He says the survey figures show that Filipinos had enough of politicking and are contented with the President's leadership. Instead of attacking the administration, Panelo says a healthy debate and platforms are more beneficial to the Filipino people. Some 1.4 metric tons of industrial wastes were shipped back to South Korea Sunday after months of protest from environmental groups and local officials. The shipment is part of the imported waste docked at the Mindanao International Container Terminal. Pinoy Action for Governance and the Environment thanked the Bureau of Customs and the Korean government for the partial return of the illegally imported wastes. The Eco-Waste Coalition meanwhile called for a stop of waste import to the Philippines. It says the waste shipments violated Korean and Philippine customs and environmental laws as well as the International Basel Convention. The local government says it will investigate and penalize those who approve the importation and unloading of all solid wastes. The military meets with Moro stakeholders to ensure a peaceful plebiscite, and the DFA works on bringing home the body of a murdered Filipino from Saudi Arabia. More on these and other news around the metro from Joyce Kudis.
The military held a dialogue in Maguindanao to ensure a peaceful and orderly Bangsamoro Organic Law plebiscite in the province. The security meeting was attended by area commanders of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front and Moro National Liberation Front. The dialogue sought to strengthen the military's good relationship and communication with other peace-inclined groups. Meanwhile, the remains of the Filipino stabbed to death last week is expected to be repatriated soon. The victim was stabbed to death by a Filipino roommate who then suffered serious injuries after they jumped off from the third floor of their apartment building to escape. Local authorities in Riyadh are expected to issue the approval upon the end of its investigation. In other news, PCAO Chief Martin Andanar encourages tourism leaders to issue travel advisories that are more specific to areas affected by security issues. This is to avoid other destinations from suffering financially. He says he will direct the PCAO's Office for Global Media Affairs to push for fair travel advisories. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Joyce Kudis.
Still to come, the AFP and PNP announced the security measures are in place for the start of the midterm election period. Cebu City celebrates the start of the Sinulog Festival. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Remember, before the president came in, we were known to have a very weak rule of law here in the Philippines. As a matter of fact, 32 journalists were killed in 2009.
Ayan, the Ampatuan
The
massacre.
Patuan, Maguindanao massacre. And that was a very clear example of impunity in our country. This is Secretary Martin Andanar, and you're watching.
That it's not a case of press freedom or
Oh no.
pressure on
No.
singling out Rappler, because those are some of the allegations coming out.
Oh, the fact that you can ask me those questions now means we have a freedom of the press. And the fact that even our index for safety, for journalists' safety in the country has improved. You can check the latest data of the Committee to Protect Journalists, and that's precisely because of the Administrative Order Number 1, which created the Presidential Task Force on Media Security, and also the transparency of government by checking the Executive Order Number 2, which is the freedom of information, and both these policies were championed by myself, my office, and of course the President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Duterte. Ito yung handbook on personal security measures for media practitioners. This is the first handbook, I believe, in the world that will ensure your safety.
So you have the handbook for media protection.
So how can there be suppression of press freedom if we're the ones wanting the press to be safe?
The Philippine National Police says security measures are in place in time for the start of the election period. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says they are tightening security throughout the 150-day election period set by the Commission on Elections. The election gun ban is in place until June 12. Albayalde also says there are 18 areas placed under the election watch list areas. For its part, the military is willing to provide security to poll candidates from possible rebel attacks. AFP Public Affairs Chief Noel De Toyato urged candidates to coordinate with military units and COMELEC when asking for added security. A group of former rebels urged the Netherlands embassy to terminate the asylum status of Communist Party of the Philippines founder Jose Maria Sison. Members of the Liga Independencia Filipinas called on the embassy to remove Sison's privileges and repatriate him to the Philippines so his punishments may be served. Nolan Tionco, leader of the anti-communist group, said Sison has conveniently made the Netherlands his safe haven, while the communist group he founded has lost touch of its purpose and lowered itself into doing terrorist acts. He said other rebels have left the movement because their fight no longer makes sense. In February 2018, a petition was filed before Manila Court to legally declare the CPP-NPA as a terrorist organization. No Filipino was harmed in the recent explosion at the bakery in Paris that killed 3 people and injured nearly 50 others. The Philippine Embassy in Paris cited a report from the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs that none of the dead or injured were from the Philippines. The embassy extended condolences to the families of the 3 fatalities. The blast caused by a suspected gas leak took place at the bakery along Rue de Trevis on Saturday. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority approved a total of 140 billion pesos worth of investments in 2018. Investment pledges last year dropped nearly 41% from 237 billion pesos following uncertainties of the change of policies. Despite the decline, investment approvals of PEZA continued to create jobs for Filipinos. As of October 2018, jobs within PEZA registered economic zones increased by 7%, with nearly 1.5 million jobs compared to 1.4 million at end of October 2017. Export revenues of locators grew as of October 2018 to $45 billion from 42 billion revenues in the same period in 2017. Meanwhile, investments in the sector of information technology improved in 2018 to 25.56 billion from 15 billion the year before. This year's Sinulog Festival kicked off in Cebu City with a mass and street dancing parade. Mayor Tomas Osmeña led the launching of the festival in a solemn mass presided by Monsignor Roberto Alesna. In the afternoon, street dancers from different contingents paraded from Plaza Independencia to the Cebu City Sports Center. Other events throughout the weekend were the Sinulog Idol, cultural and variety shows at the Fuente Osmeña Circle, and Sugbuanong Musika. Devotees are reminded not to bring balloons inside the basilica to prevent untoward incidents. Bringing backpacks is also not allowed. About 2 million people will be on the streets for the celebration. With the start of the election period, government officials, candidates, and other stakeholders in the provinces vowed to ensure a peaceful, orderly, and violence-free election. More on this from Janice Cave.
In Baguio City, candidates for different elective positions joined the Unity Walk and Interfaith Rally to mark the start of the election period. They also joined the simultaneous nationwide signing of a peace covenant where they pledged to ensure an honest and credible 2019 polls. Police also set up 12 security checkpoints while implementing the suspension of permits to carry firearms. The COMELEC is also set to launch an anti-vote buying campaign on January 17. In Legazpi City, at least 3,000 participated in their own Unity Walk aimed at calling for honest and peaceful elections. The marchers assembled at the Peñaranda Park in Old Albay District to the PNP headquarters in Camp Sinion Ola. In Iloilo City, aspiring candidates in the 2019 midterm elections signed the Integrity Pledge. The event gathered hundreds of candidates gunning for various posts this coming elections. The DILG says they have conducted voters' education activities as early as last year. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, the Department of Science and Technology vows to support new research facilities in the regions. Junmar Fajardo wins his 5th PBA League MVP award. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Matagumpay na nakumpleto na mahigit sa 100 kabataan ang inilunsad na seminar workshop ng National Youth Commission o NYC sa Institute for Peace and Development in Mindanao o IPDM Convention Center sa Mindanao State University, Marawi Campus. Sa nasabing training, ibinahagi sa mga kabataan ang kahalagaan ng pagtutulungan at kapayapaan. Si Fatma Manali, 19 anyos, na dating residente ng Barangay Lilod, Madaya sa loob mismo ng most affected area ng lungsod, ay isa sa mga nakilahok sa nasabing aktibidad. Inihayag ni Fatma na marami siyang natutunan sa nasabing youth training.
This kind of organization na nahihil dito for youth gives us the chance na kahit papano pwede rin naman pala kaming sumali. Na may magagawa rin pala kami to help this kind of situation. Dahil kami sa paraan, sinasabi nila kami yung tutulong, kami yung babago. So kung mawawalan kami ng pag-asa ngayon pa lang sa edad namin to, so paano pa kaya pag matanda na kami? So we will be preparing ourselves in this kind of situation na alam namin makakatulong kami.
Ang NYC ay isa sa mga ahensyang miyembro ng Subcommittee for Peace and Order ng Task Force Bangon Marawi o TFBM na may nakalaang programa para makaambag sa muling pagbangon ng lungsod. Ang isinagawang youth training ng tanggapan ay bahagi ng programang Bangon para sa Kabataan Program, Usap Tayo Peace Education for Communities na iniimplementa hindi lamang sa Marawi City kundi maging sa mga kalapit nitong bayan. Maliban dito, balak rin ng NYC na bumuo ng youth cooperative sa Marawi City sa susunod na taon at magpatayo rin sa lungsod ng kauna-unahang youth hub sa buong bansa. Para sa Bayan, Wilnard Basilonia, Philippine Information Agency.
The Department of Science and Technology will assist at least 10 new research centers this year. Science Secretary Fortunato de la Peña says the DOST hopes to capacitate centers in the regions that specialize in different technology fields. Among its priority areas are agriculture, fishery, forestry, renewable energy, creative industries, information and communications technology, food and nutrition, and environment and climate change. The DOST pushes for industry-academe partnership in every region and will provide funding for approved proposals from institutions and their partner industries. In our foreign news, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro was sworn in before the Supreme Court of Justice for a new 6-year term. Maduro was elected with 68% of the votes. Maduro swore on behalf of the people of Venezuela to defend the independence and absolute integrity of the country. He says the inauguration ceremony was a step towards peace for the country. The ceremony was attended by public leaders except those from the National Assembly, where the majority is from the opposing party. Delegations from 94 countries were also in attendance. Venezuela is a profoundly democratic country with 25 elections for the past 19 years. In sports, San Miguel's Junmar Fajardo won his 5th Philippine Basketball Association Most Valuable Player Award. Fajardo received the award during the opening ceremonies of the new PBA season at the Philippine Arena. He edged out North Point guard Stanley Pringle to become the lone player with the most MVP plums, breaking out a tie with legends Mon Fernandez and Alvin Patrimonio. Fajardo and Pringle headlined the mythical first team along with Magnolia's Paul Lee, Ginebra's Japeth Aguilar, and San Miguel's Marshall Lassiter. Fajardo also led the all-defensive team, which also has Magnolia's Rafi Rivas and Rome De La Rosa, Rain or Shine's Gabe Norwood, and San Miguel's Chris Ross. Meanwhile, Gabe Norwood won the Sportsmanship Award, while Ginebra's Scotty Thompson was named the Most Improved Player. Jason Perkins beat fellow LaSalle alumnus Jaron Teng for the Rookie of the Year award. The Department of Science and Technology returns to Marawi City to reach displaced residents about nutrition and maintaining food supply. It hopes to teach residents to grow their own food and eat healthy while in a calamity-torn environment. Sweet Lukman has the story.
Hundreds of Marawi IDPs from Sagunsongan Transitory Sites Area 1 gathered for a culmination program for the Department of Science and Technology, Food and Nutrition and Research Institute's Nutrition Intervention Model in Time of Calamities, a quick response to emergency project. DOST FNRI Nutrition Assessment and Monitoring Division Chief Dr. Imelda Agdepa said the project benefited 375 individuals from 75 families temporarily living in the area. According to Agdepa,
itong proyekto na ito ay may tatlong components: gardening, nutrition education, at saka supplementary feeding. Container gardening, tinuruan po natin sila. Second ay yung nutrition education, gumawa po kami ng module sa kanilang dialect ng Maranao. Third ay yung sinasabi natin supplementary feeding. Itong supplementary feeding ay 120 days na binibigyan sila ng pagkain.
During the culmination program, DOST FNRI also gave the community another food supply, sewing machine, and beads making kits for their livelihood. DOST FNRI Director Mario Capanzana emphasized that the project did not only provide intervention for the Marawi IDPs, but also became a data source for the agency study. He expressed hope that the Sagunsongan Area 1 community will continue to practice what the agency has taught them.
Papag-aralan yung model ng pagtulong tuwing kalamidad. Pero may tinignan kami na mga indicator na nagkaroon nga ng magandang impact. So, katatapos lang yon at yung pinakahuling activity. Pero pag natapos namin i-analyze yung data, pahatid namin yung resulta dito rin sa Marawi. Sa mga siguro February, mga next month, lalabas na yung aming resulta ng pag-aaral.
As a member agency of the Task Force Bangon Marawi Subcommittee on Health and Social Welfare, DOST FNRI partnered with Marawi City Government and Marawi City Health Office for the successful implementation of the program. DOST is also a member agency of TFBM Subcommittee on Livelihood. Together with Wilnard Barcelona for PNA Newsroom, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's top stories.
The Foreign Affairs Department vows to get to the bottom of the data breach that hit passport holders. The AFP and PNP announced security measures are in place for the start of the midterm election period. Thousands of candidates and stakeholders all over the country walk for clean, honest, and peaceful elections. And Junmar Fajardo wins his 5th PBA League MVP award.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.